What is up, everyone? We are back with some more Digimon content. It's been a minute since my last video because I've been busy with life and work and stuff. But starting this week, I'll be coming back and going hard with a summer full of content. And that all starts today with my experience this week at a pre-release draft tournament where I actually managed to get first place, pulling that awesome MagnaAngemon prize card. It was a super exciting event. It was actually my first time doing draft in any game, and I thought specifically for Digimon, it was super fun. If you don't know how it worked, basically everyone was given 6 booster packs. You get like 30-ish minutes, depending on the store, to just make whatever random deck you want. The special rules for the draft here was 40 card decks instead of the typical 50. And they also had a special rule where for these tournaments, you could Digivolve any Digimon into the higher level of any other color. So you can go red level 3 into a black level 4, any colors in between. It made for some really hilarious combos and inheritables. And it was also just super nice too, because you didn't really have to worry too much about color and deck building. Everyone's coming in with just random shitty decks they build together, and it was just super fun and also a great way for, I think, newcomers to get introduced to the game. From what I even saw at some stores and what people told me, the pre-release tournament was actually awesome, really awesome for new players, since it was for a lot of people their first chance actually even getting the opportunity to get their hands on cards and play the games, because supply has been so rough recently. And I know, at least in my area, I was lucky that there have been a lot of stores nearby doing pre-release tournaments, so it's been really cool, really awesome. I had a ton of fun. So for this video, I will be going through the cards I pulled from my 6 booster packs at the pre-release, as well as going through the deck I made, just because I feel like it's hilarious to go through a random stupid draft deck, but also kind of explaining what I tried to go for and what strategies I was keeping in mind for drafting, in case any of you have the chance to go to a draft in the future, and in case they do more draft tournaments, which honestly I really hope they do, because it was a really awesome experience and also kind of neat to just get your hands on small bits of cards before the full release and kind of just like play around with random cards, especially since there are a lot of the cards in the set that probably aren't going to be used, because let's be honest, every set, probably like a third of the cards at least, just never see any play. So it's kind of neat to be forced to play all these different random cards that under normal circumstances would be pretty bad, but for draft actually might be useful or fun. But so with that out of the way, let's get into the actual cards I pulled. Okay, so of course I have the Pulsemon, one of the main reasons I was trying to make it to as many pre-release events as I could this week. If you don't know what he does, just look him up. Really awesome card. Basically early game helps you get some extra cards, and later in the game, after you've drawn security, gives you some extra memory. And these are my 2 pre-release cards. Was pretty hyped for the Kari, to be honest. Kari was pretty cool. And Regiomon, whatever, just alright. Okay, so now just going through the sets. Honestly, this was the first set where I just didn't really even look up that many of the cards coming out beforehand, to be honest. Like, I'd seen some of them in previews, but just because I was busy at the time, didn't really get the chance to keep up with all of them, so I knew what a few did. Marcus, just excited to have a good. Oh, and then this one, I didn't even realize when I first saw this that this was the alternate art card. I kind of was assuming it was because he looked sick, but again, I wasn't sure if that was just regular Mirage Galgamon. And then later when I was playing against someone, they were like, oh, you got the alternate art, and I was like, yes, awesome. Really sick too, and exciting to get that in the first pack for my 6. I think actually every draft I have done this week, and you'll see in the future videos, I managed to get an alternate art card, which is, I feel like pretty lucky. You know, you get 6 packs out of the box and manage to go 3 for 3 on alternate arts, and one of them, I believe, was a secret rare alternate art that I get in a future video. You'll all see that soon, but yeah, pretty cool. A lot of new Digimon in the set, which is nice. Especially since the first 3 sets are kind of just like a lot of duplicates of different Digimon. And of course this set has that too, but we get a lot of new ones. Ooh, and then the Anubismon was exciting, because I know he's a pretty fun card for purple. Bushiagamon, I'm excited to use in some yellow. Darkgermon, I'm really happy I got. I don't expect it to necessarily be the strongest deck this format, but I do really like the idea of the D Brigade cards, so that's definitely something we need to try out in the future. Neo Devamon is pretty cool. Super excited for purple. That's probably going to be the color gonna play around most with this set. I definitely like just the kind of weird strategies they have. Oh, Chaosmon with Super Hive, and then Plutomon, really strong purple card. That pack was pretty sick. And again, Chaosmon, he will end up being the kind of MVP of most of my matches that I won that day. Multiple times I would have lost if I didn't happen to draw into Chaosmon when I did, so it was really nice. Marcus, just super exciting to finally have a new red memory tamer that isn't high, because that set 1 tie is an awful tamer. And Marcus is pretty cool, especially if you're going for that Greymon themed deck, whichever way you want to build it. And then we can't forget to show off the prizes. From my tamer pack, I got the Mega Kabuterimon alternate art, which is pretty cool, I guess. Honestly, none of the kind of prize alternate arts look that cool for me, at least like the regular tamer pack ones. But it's just cool to have. But for the actual card that's exciting, we have the MagnaAngemon, the first place prize card himself, looking really awesome. The entire card is foil. There, it almost has, like, when you look really close, almost looks like textured with the way the foiling is. But yeah, really awesome looking art. Honestly, kind of sucks that it's this specific MagnaAngemon they went with for the alternate art, because this card is pretty bad and no one actually plays them, but it still looks cool. Personally, I would have preferred the other MagnaAngemon to get an alternate art for reprising, but he already had an alternate art, which I'm assuming is why they decided to go with this card. But really cool, really awesome. Honestly, part of me kind of wants to sell him, but also this is the first place prize card I've ever gotten in any card game tournament, so probably we'll just hold on to him kind of for memories, and as a cool trophy for winning my first tournament. But now that we finished showing off the cards I got, let's get on to the deck I played with for the draft tournament. Starting off with the level 2s, you're pretty much going to just want to play every level 2 you get if you're lucky enough to pull any. I was able to get 4 of my booster packs, which is really nice. I have heard stories of some people who just get no Digi-Eggs, or they get like 1 or 2, which kind of sucks, because, you know, Digi-Eggs, those free level 3 Digivolution draws in the breeding area. Shaman was probably the most exciting one, just because there's a chance to get retaliation if there are 10 or more cards in your trash. Other than that, Bakuman, I guess, kind of neat to get rid of Digivolution sources. Koromon wasn't really useful at all. But yeah, basically, if you get a level 2, just put it in there. You will probably never end up using their effects, but at least you have them and you can Digivolve them in your breeding area. Next up, we have our level 3s. I ran 12 level 3s for this, which seemed like a pretty good ratio for a 40 card deck. Usually I run a very high amount of level 3s, since I hate getting rookie starved early in the game. The ones that were actually useful, Labramon's kind of cool, get that extra draw. Bushiagamon, kind of just because he's a fun card, and if the opponent happens to give you a ton of memory, just get that free swing. Pulsemon, of course, because such a good card, no reason not to put it, especially when you get 1 as a promo for the pre-release. And then other than that, just trying to get as many 0 cost Digivolution rookies as you can. And then I ran a couple 2 costs to play, so Falcomon and Leomon. Having 2 of them was really good. Maybe if I had a third, I would have thrown it in there. But just really nice to have something really cheap, especially, as usual, you always want to memory starve your opponent. So if you ever get lucky enough that they leave you that you're at 1 memory and you have one of these, just play it and leave them at memory. But yeah, 12 rookies. For the level 4s, I ran 9. This seemed a really good amount to me. I don't think I ever ran into a situation where I was like really waiting on level 4s or holding for them. So I kept a couple just cheap 3 cost ones, since you never know when you're going to need something really cheap. Also, Digivolving up, if you happen to pull any really good level 6s or level 7s, obviously being able to Digivolve for cheap is super nice. Leomon was kind of just in there because that's what I had. Had Galmon and Geogreymon because potentially using the Digiverse to delete something or get the extra card is good. And then had the Blipmon and Diatrimon, just because it's nice to have really high power vanilla champions just in case you need strong level 4 to swing over something they have or just increase your chances of beating something at security. Not really much to say here, but definitely worth including a couple really cheap ones so you can try to turbo if you have anything that's worth turboing into. And then Blipmon, just pretty nice to have a 7,000 DP blocker, or level 4. Moving on to level 5s, I ran 7 in my deck. This was the one level where I kind of maybe wish I would have run one more because there were a couple situations where I was really waiting on level 5s and I just never got them. Grab Leomon, just awesome card, gain memory when attacking. If you pull him in a draft, just definitely play him. It's really cool. Skull Scorpiomon, just nice, 2 cost to Digivolve into, so that's always good. And then 5 cost to play. Pretty nice to have a cheap level 5 you can drop if you have nothing else to play. Go Gusto Kumon, just because sometimes having a high DP level 5 is nice. Neo Devamon, just because I thought his effect was cool. May Crackmon, because having that buffed security could be pretty good. And then Hippogriffmon, just for the off chance if they have a lot of lower power Digimon or you need to swing and make something a little weaker to swing into it. Seemed like a fun card to use. These two were probably my favorite. Everything else was in there just because I kind of had it. For my level 6s, I have one Spinalmon. Super awesome just because he was the cheapest card in the set to Digivolve into, at least from what I pulled. 2 costs to get into, really nice. An extra 3,000 DP during your turn, pretty cool. Able to swing over most of the cards that are in this set. Raziomon, just because I wanted something for recovery. Definitely good to play if you have it, just because realistically, a lot of these matches ended really quickly because it's just people kind of throwing shit at each other, trying to take you out as fast as you can. So being able to heal isn't bad. Lotusmon, I never really used, but kind of a cool effect. Anubismon was nice to get that extra level 3 out there, and if it's still your turn, swing into your opponent with Rush. And then the alternate Art Mirage Galgamon also just has a really cool effect, being unblockable, and then kind of gaining some memory back when you play him. 6 level 6s felt like a good number to me, so I was fine with that. And then my 1 level 7 Chaosmon, this was the MVP of the deck. This was basically the Dark Magician of my deck. Every time I had a situation where there would only be one card to get me out of there, it was always Chaosmon, always coming up in my hand when I needed him most, and just really awesome effect that basically gives you an out to any Digimon on the field if you're able to get up to him. Super cool, awesome card. One of the cards I was hoping to get the most, so I was really lucky to pull him in this pack. Can't say enough good things about this card. Basically the ace of my draft deck. For options, I just ran 2. I ran Aqua Viper and Purge-Shine just because it seemed nice to have an out to a potentially wide and weak board if the opponent had it. And these honestly ended up being really useful. I definitely had matches where each of these cards saved my life and were the one card that I needed and happened to have to get rid of some situations and turn the tide. So kind of just nice to have some kind of board clear in your draft deck. And then I was lucky enough to have 3 Tamers in my packs, so I ran 2 copies of Marcus, just because Memory Tamer, the Greymon effect didn't really come into effect. And then the Kari Kamiya, which was actually my pre-release stamp card. Kari also did not expect how useful she would be. Just the ability to gain memory during your opponent's turn every time they're attacking you. Super cool. Makes your opponent kind of have to play on the edge of their seat and be super careful with how they're spending their memory in case they accidentally pass the turn to you. So yeah, just really cool cards. 3 Tamers. Felt like enough. So basically the things I tried to keep in mind when making my deck and kind of playing through that worked very well was just trying to have very cost efficient cards in terms of digivolving and play costs. So again, like Fugamon and Skull Scorpiomon were very good because they are very cheap to digivolve into in case you're trying to get to something big in your hand. And also they're pretty cheap to play because realistically, with draft it's rough and sometimes you might just need to hard cast something, so it's nice to be able to just have something good. And again, like Spinalmon, just being able to have a good, high, strong, easy to digivolve into beater, because realistically, not a lot of people are going to have blockers in the draft tournaments. And a lot of it is going to be kind of just trying to get the biggest, hardest hitting swinger you can to try to just cut through their security. Other thing I kept in mind, trying to also just have some heavy hitters. Just because that was kind of like the game, right? Basically, every turn you're just trying to swing their security. So you want as many big hitters as you can to swing with, and also to have in your security to potentially take down their rookies, since a lot of times they will be attacking with level 3s or level 4s just because they're cheap to get out there. So that was where Digimon like Blipmon and Guso Kumon came in. Just having a few options for just high DP Digimon for their level that can just hit pretty hard, and then trying to have something in terms of a board clear. So like Purge Shine, just in case you have it. Realistically, yeah, the tournament is just kind of almost at times Rookie Rush or just something similar to that, where people just go with wide boards trying to attack as many times as they can, especially since most people won't end up having a lot of blockers. So being able to have certain options to at least try to take out multiple Digimon at a time is always good. And then honestly, just high DP rookies, very good. Super nice to have something that you can play for cheap. And 5,000 DP for a rookie, pretty good. We'll be able to swing over a lot of their lower DP rookies, and kind of just like a nice cheap option to have. But yeah, that summarizes my pools deck and kind of just experience at the draft tournament. It was super fun. I'm glad I got the chance to go. I ended up hitting up a couple more draft tournaments this week on the days where I was free and I was able to find stores doing them. I really hope this is something that they continue to do for future sets. It was super fun, and also kind of just like a really relaxed, chill, low pressure environment, since no one's going in there with like pre-built decks or anything. You kind of just get what you have, and it's almost like playing Yugi's deck in an episode of Yu-Gi-Oh, where he has all these one-off cards that are pretty stupid to have, and it's like, Yugi, what are you doing? This card is only useful in like one specific scenario. But that's really what the draft was. Just have a card for everything, just hope you get it, and just having like one-ofs of all these cards. It kind of just literally felt like playing an episode of Yu-Gi-Oh and just praying for the heart of the cards to save you, which is what a lot of my matches came up to. I ended up going 2-0 in both of my first two matches, and then my last game, I won day one, and then we had an epic fight to the finish in a tie. And luckily for me, 2 wins in a tie ended up being enough to win the tournament. So yeah, just really awesome experience. I will have more pre-release openings coming out soon, and then also boxes at the weekend. So thank you for checking out the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. If you have not seen my channel yet, please subscribe. I will be having tons of Digimon content coming out soon. I hope you are doing well, and have a good one.